Hi everybody. Am I audible to all of you? A quick audio check. Yes, no, maybe. Am I audible? Yeah. Okay, cool. So, welcome all of you. This is a batch for APM, which is mobile automation. We are going to start a new batch. The highlight for the same is we're going to start this batch with Python programming language as compared to any other. So, how many of you were not there in the yesterday's demo session, which was planned for the Selenium stuff? How many of you were not there? Because I can see if you were there. How many of you were not there? Okay, no worries. And if you guys are not there, I'll just brief you about things one time. In case if you guys have any questions at any point of time, feel free to interrupt me. I'll be more than happy to answer the same, right? Okay. So let me actually start with my course content. This will be the course content that we are going to cover completely in this course, starting with setup and installation of different things. This is I'm talking about Python. So in case if anybody of us who is not at all good with programming languages or who has no prior experience in Python as a programming language, he or she uh, should be more comfortable with this course because we're going to start everything from scratch. We're going to start everything from scratch. Means a person with zero knowledge of Python by the end of this course will be a good if a good learner can be a great master. So we are going to start with setup installations. Then what are different types of variables, data types, flow strings, OOPS concepts are very important topic. Some advanced data types, tuples, list, set, dictionary, exception handling, XYZ. Then we are going to work with APM. What is APM? Another great highlight about this course is I'm going to cover APM in two different types. APM, like this one will be covered with Eclipse as an IDE, and another will be covered as PyCharm as an IDE. The one I'm going to cover in Eclipse will be based on robot framework. Do not worry if you guys are unaware of these technologies, you will be learning them by the end of this course. Okay, am I audible to all of you? Am I audible? Yes, no, maybe. Ujjwal, try to reconnect. APM, as I mentioned, we are going to cover it two ways. One is Eclipse using robot framework, and another is PyCharm using APM Python client. Okay, so these are the two ways we are going to cover our stuff with. Then how do we set up? So there is an editor called Red Editor, RED. This is a very famous editor for robot framework. When we deal with it, we're also going to cover this, how to set up APM servers and everything, understanding about more some testing frameworks about the testing framework that we are going to use, how to connect with Android Studio, real device connecting, what are different locators, how do we handle test cases and how do we handle reporting, what are native apps, handling touching actions, using web application, hybrid applications, creating a designing framework in two or three different ways, parallel testing, rerunning failed test cases, attaching screenshots, and so many things in the course. Like then, as we are also going to add BDD framework, and by the end of this course, we'll be having a session for iOS automation as well. Okay, so this is all the course content that we will be covering by the end of this course. Any questions about the course content? Yeah, I mentioned we are going to cover Python programming also. Python programming will be covered from base, like from scratch. In case if nobody has any prior experience in Python programming, we are going to start from very basics. Are you parallel testing using cloud test execution? We can use APM Grid for that, Rishikesh. We'll be covering APM Grid as well. So yeah, how many classes? The course will be of 2 months, out of which your first month will be completely based on learning Python, and your second month will be completely based on APM. Regarding the class timings, the class timings for the first month will be from 10 a.m. IST to 11 or 11:30 a.m. IST. Okay, class for the second month will be from 6 p.m. IST till 7:30 p.m. IST. Okay. Classes will be, yes, completely on weekends. There will be in all 16 to 17 classes, including some doubt sessions and some more different sessions. In what um, Ujjwal, if you're not able to hear, please reconnect. Try to reconnect, Ujjwal, if you are unable to hear me. Okay, so it will be of 16 to 17 classes in all. This will be the Python timings. So yeah, any questions on this, the structure that we are going to follow? If anybody has any questions on this, otherwise we can start. So how many of you who are new joined here has prior experience in Python? So let me also introduce myself. My name is uh, Ashish Garg. I am working as a automation tester. This is my profile. I have a great number of experience in all in a CMM 5 level organization. In case if you want to contact me, this is my contact number. This is my email ID, 9582@gmail.com. Yeah. In case if anytime, anywhere you want any help regarding your code or anything, you guys can contact me using the same data. Moving ahead, now let's start with basics of Python, a bit about it, then I'll be briefing you about APM. We'll see what is APM and how to work on it, different things, how mobile automation is going to help us, and things like that. Okay, so we use different type of programming languages, right? So how is Python different? Whosoever were available in the yesterday session, you guys can help me over here. How is Python different from other programming languages? Point number one, this is a general purpose language. When I'm saying this is a general purpose language, so writing something like this, so if you say some print hello, so I'll simply do just like this, print hello. This is far better or using system.out.println and then performing the hello. Yeah, along with this you need to brief it inside a class and something. So there is a great syntax, a big syntax, and there is one single liner. Which one is more easy and which one is more sounding good? We can all say that yes, the first one sounds good. The first one sounds easy. So that is why we say Python is a general purpose language. Class is a keyword. Whosoever is unaware about it, we'll discuss it when we will be discussing OOPS concepts. So do not worry on that channel. Secondly, we say in case if you want detailed information about this, I took a session on I took a session on Python yesterday also. The yesterday demo. You can go through the recording one time if you want more detailed information. Second, we say it is dynamic in nature. When we say dynamic in nature, let me describe it in the same fashion. So suppose this is my memory location. Please explain how the track can be chosen also using Java or using Python. Which track are you talking about, Yogesh? I'm not getting your question actually. Automation, how the automation can be chosen. So you are confused whether you should use Java or you should use Python. That is what your question is for automation. So that depends upon your client's need, Yogesh. That depends upon your need. That depends upon your level of imagination. What I believe is Python is a language where more focus is on logic. So when I'm saying more focus is on logic, that means if somebody says me that print hello, I'll simply print hello. Simple as it sounds. But when I'm talking about other programming languages, I need to think about syntax a lot. Syntax, right? That is very important. Over there, if you're unaware with the syntax, so you cannot perform different operations. So what happens is sometimes somebody gives you a complex problem, you know how to solve it, you know how the logic will be built up, but the problem is you do not know how to implement it. So in that cases, Python helps you a lot because it gives you a very straightforward syntax. It does not makes you a merry-go-round like thing. It just gives you a very straightforward syntax and says, boss, just write down whatever you think in your mind and your operation will be performed. That is why Python is more preferable as compared to Java. Rest is up to the client's need. If he asks for Java, you need to perform it in Java. Otherwise, Python is the best one. I hope I answered your question, right? So this is a memory location, suppose, where some data is stored, let's say, right? And something is stored. So now what happens if somebody asks me that where is this 12 stored? Where is this 12 stored? So in a memory location, everything has a memory address. So it might have 0, X, and some good number, right? Similarly, there will be a memory location for this one. This might be having a memory location as 0, X, and something like this. Now, if somebody asks me to memorize these memory locations so that I can connect with the data, it would be very difficult for me, right? So to do that stuff, what we do, we rename these memory location into something called variables. In something called variables. So if I say this is my name, so now if I say, boss, what is the value of name? So I can simply say name is equal to SDSD. So now this is something like which is performed in the same fashion. I am storing it over here only. But instead of memorizing the memory location, I have provided it a name. But what is that one different thing which is different from other programming languages? In Python, name equals to SDSD is what it is needed. But in other programming languages, we need to provide the data type and then the variable and then the value. So like in Java, if I talk about, I need to say string name is equal to SDSD, right? So what bottleneck comes here is that name is a variable which can only and only hold string type of data, but it cannot hold any other type of data. String means a collection of characters, right? So that is why Python says I am so much dynamic in nature that I do not want the data type required. You can directly say name equals to SD. You can say A is equal to 12, like that. You can provide any type of data to any type of variable. If I show you, let me create a new file. If I say name is equal to, let's print Ashish, and if I simply print the type of data, I'm saying what is the type of this variable. If I run it, uh, sorry, let me again run it. It says error running demo invalid Python interpreter. Let me just check. Yeah. So you see here it says it automatically binds itself with string type of data. Now, if I go down and again rename it to name is equals to 12, if I again want to print the type of data name holds, this time it will again automatically update it and it will say, boss, this is it. This time it is of integer type. So what I want to explain here is we do not need to take the hectic of defining the data type of the variable every time. It says I am so much dynamic, I give you so much flexibility that you focus on your logic, leave the implementation on me. That is why we say, boss, Python is a dynamic programming language. Am I clear to all of you till here? Yes, no, maybe. Am I clear to all of you? Yes, no, maybe. It would be good if you guys can just reply me with a yes, no, maybe, because it will be a two-way session, which makes it more interactable. Cool. The next pointer we can also say is it is interpreting language. It is a interpreting language. Now suppose I'm saying print this and then I'm saying print another variable which is having a name as name2. Now I know this is not available. It says there is an error because there is no such variable like name2. But even if I execute my code, you see it executed line number 1. It executed line number 2. It raised me an error at line number 3 and it stopped the execution. Why it happened? Because the interpreting language is a language which executes line by line, So in case if there is no error in a particular line, it will execute it, otherwise it will stop. But what happens if you're using Java? In that case, it will not execute because it says, first of all, remove all the errors from program. Only and only then I'll be executing the code. Okay, that is called compile time language. But Python is a interpreting language which executes the code one line at a time. Then we say that because Python is platform independent. Why is Python platform independent? Because we can execute it on a Windows machine, we can execute the same code on a Linux machine, we can execute the same code on a Mac machine. So no matters what, if that machine has Python installed with itself, there is no another need of doing anything else. You can execute the same code on Linux or Windows or Mac, depending upon your need. So yeah, these are few pointers which describes Python in a better manner and describes Python more easy and more useful as compared to other programming languages. So how we actually install it? So simply type download Python. Go to their official website, which is python.org. The latest version we have is Python 3.9.4. I have completely completed the installation in yesterday's demo session. You can actually check it out over there. In case if you guys have any questions over there after watching the video, you guys can contact me using the same data which I provided. Do here we have interpreter and compiler like we have in Java. Yeah, Nirima, we have an interpreter over here since Python is an interpreting language. Okay. So is it clear to everybody till here? All these pointers and how some basic things? Yes, no, maybe? Please explain third point. Third point is it is interpreting language. Let me actually give you an example. Online Java compiler. Let me open this one. So now there is system.println hello world. I'm using the same thing here, and this time I am printing a variable which does not exist, which is a. Suppose this variable does not exist right now, and the same problem is available here. That name2 does not exist. So if I executing this program, what happens? Line number 2 gets executed. It prints str. It performs the given operation, and the code breaks at line number 3, where it says it is not defined, which is correct exactly. Moving back to the Java code, if I execute it, you see it says compilation failed. Now, what is the difference? The difference is at line number 12, this should have been executed if it is an interpreting language, because line number 12 does not have any error in it. But since Java is a compiling type language, it finds out all the error in the code and asks you to resolve it. Once you resolve it, only after that you can execute your code, not before that. So that is the difference between a compile time language and a interpreting language. Is it clear now? Point number 3. Okay, cool. Now moving ahead, uh, over here in Python, we use something called pip. Pip stands for Python Index Provider. Whatever we install in Python, whatever we install in Python, which means any library. For example, if I want to install Selenium, right, or if I want to install APM, how can I do that? There is very one simple command which is called pip install Selenium. That's it. If you want to install APM, pip install APM. So what is the syntax? The syntax says if you want to install something, pip install, and here is your library name, like that. Okay. So whatever I am going to install over here in my project, I'm going to use same syntax. In case if you want to see what all libraries are available there, you can go to their official website called pypy.org. So over here, if I write Selenium and search, it gives me the first result and it gives you the command which you want to execute. It says you need to write pip install Selenium to execute Selenium stuff. If I search for APM, so here it gives you some options for APM as well. So since I want to use APM Python based client, so it says this is the command which is available for APM. So pip is a index provider which we use to install and uninstall any Python library. Am I clear? Is it clear to everybody what is pip? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, cool. Now, since this is a demo session, so I'm not going into so much of deep levels. Let's have a look on APM side as well. So in APM, why is it majorly used? It is majorly used for mobile automation, right? There are three types of applications available over here. One is native, another is a web application, and the third one is a hybrid application. We'll be discussing all three of them in the later sessions in detail. For APM, we need some few prerequisites. Prerequisites as in few software requirements. The first one is Android Studio. This is a very important um, software required to work with APM. Why? Because we are going to work on emulators. We are going to work on emulators. Now, what are emulators? Emulators are virtual real-time devices. These are virtual real-time devices. Now, even if I open Android Studio, it will take a minute to open. So these are real-time devices which we are going to use, and we are going to automate the application. Once we have emulators, we are also going to download APM Desktop client. This is also a very important one where we will be creating sessions. We will be creating different types of sessions to connect with emulator and to connect with real-time devices. Yes, emulators are completely free to use, Satish. Okay, so to download Android Studio, just visit their official website, download Android Studio. This is, go to their first available option. Over here, it says it's of 896 MB right now. Simply click on download and it will start downloading. Once you download it, there is a set of basic configuration which you need to perform. Since you're using, if you're using a 64-bit operating system, you will be using downloading as per the requirement. If you're using 32-bit, it is also okay to use the 64-bit one because this is backward compatible. So it even works on 32-bit systems and 64-bit systems. So once you download it, you need to perform some very basic operations, set of configurations that we'll be discussing when we'll be downloading and installing it in detail. Another important software which I mentioned is download APM Desktop. So even if you visit their official website, so there's a GitHub link actually, or you can also visit apm.io. It says APM client library for Python or desktop application if you want. So click on desktop application and it will redirect you to this page. So whichever system you are using, you can actually download it as per the need. If you're using a Windows machine, you can download it from here. If you're using a Linux machine, DNG file works, or on a Mac machine as well. So yeah, once you download it, I'll show you it opening. So Android Studio is up and running. So this is Android Studio once downloaded, right? I'll show you the configurations and everything. So now if you want to go to the emulator, so this is how you have a emulator screen type of, like this is the device name. Desktop application, and it works for, no, it will be working for web applications as well, Dilemma. Desktop application is a APM server application which we need to connect with the devices. Okay. So these are my different types of emulators. Even if I open this, you need to just click on this play button and your emulator screen should be available. You see there. So this is my previous state. If I just simply perform any operation over here. So this is something very much similar to real-time devices. That is why we call them as emulators. So I can, close it. It saves the state and closes it. Similarly, if you want to create a new virtual device, you can actually do the same. That depends if you want to have a TV, a phone, a wearing operating system, which is watches, a tablet, or an automotive. Since I want to use a phone, you can select any phone of your own choice, whichever you want to work on. So suppose if I say I want to work on so Pixel I already have, let's say Nexus 6. Let's go to next. Then it gives you an option of all the types of operating systems which you want to work on. So R is the latest Android uh, operating system we have right now, so you can download it. If you want to work on any other operating system, it will start downloading it. It is of almost 2 GB. For iPhone also you have an option as well. Just search for it and you can download for iPhone also. But for iPhone, it is iOS applications, right? So for that we use Xcode. We'll be coming to that, but not now, in the later sessions when we will be actually working on them, right? So once we download it, just select the operating system, select the name and the type of the version you want to open it up, and that's it. And your emulator will be up and running. Okay, like this. Do not worry, I will be covering each and every step. So just because of you guys, so that if you guys do not face any problems, just give me a second. Uh, 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 yeah. So I have actually created these steps of installation for you guys, so that just because everybody is not so much, clear with everything. So I have created these steps of installations, like you guys need to follow them one by one, so that you guys does not face any issue, right? Then how to set up an Android SDK library, how to download APM library. We can actually download it in two different or three different ways. How to set up a APM server on a Windows machine, right? We have steps to open an emulator from a command line location, working with an emulator, how to perform different types of operations and everything. So I have actually created this file for you guys, so that you guys may not face any problem in that. Sorry, can you please, I missed some question. Are you going to cover APM automation framework using BDD and PyTest? Yes, we are going to cover the APM automation using BDD and PyTest both. Can you please help what APM will do, the basics? APM, Ujjwal, is something where you are performing a mobile automation. So suppose if you have an application, so in that case, uh, to work on that mobile application, you have some end-to-end scenarios. So suppose just take the example of, okay, let me actually show you. Let's open Pixel Excel. It's in switched off state actually right now. Let me switch it on. So this is my mobile. If I open it up, so I have an application like Flipkart. I am going to open it, and this application, how it behaves in mobile. So automation is all about performing some operations. So if I come here and if I search for something, if I go to the super coin zones, what happens, what flow is used. So all these things, right? If I go and search for iPhone, suppose, and if I go to click on search, I can, what happens, what it searches and everything. So these are the things which we will be covering in this course. automating end-to-end scenarios, selecting something and adding them in the cart and things like that. I believe I missed some questions again. Are you going to cover performance testing of mobile application? In that performance testing of mobile application, as in, no, I don't think so. That is a part of the course, Satish. Tushar, are you covering how to install different new code kit developer pushing from testing? Because every new code is coming, so how to grab from server and download, then install it. So that is your build. That is the person providing you, Tushar. So there is an APK file which a developer shares it with you, and you need to just install that developer's file, the APK file in your own system, and your work is done. So that is very normal. Like download the APK file and install it. Which software using mobile screen sharing? We will be using AirDroid. Can you tell the syllabus language what you want to take? The syllabus, I believe, is already shared with all of you, right? And I discussed that in the starting of the session as well. And the language we will be using is Python completely. Can you please show what we are testing? Okay, I'll tell it again. We will be not covering, but how to perform a performance test. So to perform a performance test, we use JMeter as a performing testing tool. We have APIs in that case, Satish. We hit these APIs with a numerous amount of data, and we check with response time threshold and 90% line and everything. Okay. So to make you understand, Ujjwal, so suppose your end-to-end scenario is you have created an application like Flipkart, an e-commerce application. You need to verify whether this AC. So if I open this AC, just wait for it to get loaded. So if the person searches for air conditioner, the first air conditioner which will be available should be highly rated, should be of the best price. That is your automation scenario. So you need to test that. So we are going to test things like that. If in a mobile application you go and search for something, the list should contain the first uh, result as the highly rated result and the most expensive one. So even if you open it and click on buy now, it should redirect you to a buy now screen. If I just go down, need to select the variant, suppose anything like that. So there will be an end-to-end scenario that we will be covering up completely, right? So these types of things come under testing as well. If you want to add it to cart or whatever operation you want to perform. So each and every feature, each and every functionality we have is automated in general. Okay, that is where mobile automation comes into picture. Is it clear this time, Ujjwal? Is it clear to everybody till here? Yes, no, maybe? Can you unmute me? Give me a second. Yeah, Ujjwal, tell me.
क्या लिखा मतलब
Hello?
अच्छा दोनों ले लो फिर दोनों चूज करो फोटो खींच के भेज देता
I'm not able to understand you, Ujjwal. Can you repeat?
हेलो
Yeah, tell me.
can you show me the example actually the Flipkart example is little bit is, not understand what type of means the means we are going to test the apps or we are going to test the application of this
We are going to test the features in the application, Ujjwal.
features in the application. So
Yes.
what here is you show the example of air conditions, but can you
Yeah. So the feature says, suppose a developer in your team developed a feature where when somebody searches for air conditioner, the first item, the first result should be of highest rating and best cost. So you need to verify that. So if you go and click on this, you need to wait for the results to pop up, then grab the results, perform a backend logic, and perform some assertions. Verify whether the first output is the same which is expected. If yes, you need to pass the test case. If no, you need to fail the test case.
And the
That is
scenario,
where
where we will put the scenarios, means
uh,
our
we are
requirements.
using PyTest for that, right? We are going to use PyTest as a testing framework as well. We will be
Okay,
using different type of reportings. We will be using PyTest where all these test cases will be available, whether it is passed, whether it is failed, the screenshots, if it is failed, and everything.
means, so what is here the scenario? The scenario is here. We are testing the price 31490.
Yeah, the scenario can be
Okay,
anything. The scenario can be
okay,
anything, as I mentioned. It can be anything up to the user. Suppose it can be a scenario that if you click on this filter button, all the results should be filtered
yeah.
as per the feature. If I click on this sort button, all the feature list should be sorted as per the given option, and things like that. That is what features you can say about.
Mhm.
So we will be covering these types of features in testing.
And
So
for n
suppose if
numbers
you are
of
booking
app.
a flight, if I give you another example, you can also take an example of Make My Trip. If you,
Mhm.
the end-to-end scenario can be if you want to book a flight, so you're selecting from, you're selecting to, then you're verifying the prices that you are getting the lowest price as the first result. You select it, you go to the checkout button, and you purchase it. So that complete end-to-end scenario is also one example of automation testing in mobile.
And
Okay.
okay, and it is a the mobile should be, means it's we can test on many mobiles or only the Android platform. Like there are many versions of the mobile, so it is different to different. Means we have to test, or for it like it's common
It
for
is up to
Android.
it is up to your manager and up to the client,
Mhm.
depends as well, because if he says you need to test this application on all the devices, you need to test it on
All
all.
the
If he says you
Yes,
want to
yes.
test it on only one device, you need to test it on one. So that depends upon the cost and everything of the project and the requirement of the client.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Am I clear with the questions?
Yes, yes, I got your point. So maybe when the class is in progress, maybe that time we'll understand more
Yeah,
a little.
definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Welcome. With the 1 month of Python training, we will be as strong as for the APM perspective. Yes, definitely. The level of understanding for Python which is required in first month will be covered will be completely covering your basics and your advanced concepts which is required for APM automation. Can we become automation expert and developer in the same language track? That depends upon you, Yogesh. If you practice more, if you dedicate yourself in this as much as you can, then definitely there is no limits of somebody going to different heights. It's up to you, it's up to your imagination, your creativity, and everything. This course, but is that good to go? Yeah, definitely. Python is something which is at very boom at in nowadays, and since AI is being very much famous, so yeah, definitely you can definitely move to this and work on this. Yeah, coming to your question, Khwaja. This course is going to cover APM automation with Android, iOS, and Windows. It is going to cover with Android and iOS, and Window-based application is robot framework-based applications, which is not a part of this. Okay. Everyday recording will be getting by you. It will not be me. It will be Rahul who will be submitting you the recordings. So you will be getting a portal over there. You guys will be getting all the recordings, maybe the same day or maybe the next day. Complete Python dev plus automation plus mobile. Yes, that is what you can say it in a nutshell. That we are going to completely use Python development, automation, and mobile. So approximately when you are going to start APM testing, because first you're going with Python first, and it is daytime course. So not possible to join because too late for me. So yeah, the first month, as I already mentioned, will be of Python only. So maybe that depends. Actually, I cannot commit the date because that depends upon the class speed, the class understanding. It might be taking 8 classes, it might take 10 classes. So whenever I'm going to start APM, we will be dropping an email to everybody, so you can join at that point of time, Tushar. Which is having more jobs, APM with Java or APM with Python? To be very honest, at this point of time, in the market, you will be seeing APM with Java more jobs as compared with APM with Python. But I can confirm that in the next 2 or 3 years down the line, APM with Python will be beating Java and everything so badly. Yeah. After the class, if we have doubts during practice, you will be supporting us. Yeah, definitely I'll be there. You guys can drop your queries on the WhatsApp group. So anybody whosoever wants to answer them can answer, or I will be the person who will be there. So yeah. When the class is going to start, the class will be starting from 17th of April itself, which is the next week itself. But the first month will be from 10 a.m. IST, which will be covering Python basics in the first 8 classes, and then we are going to move ahead. Okay. So the way we have this emulator with us, in the same fashion we have um, a real device with us. The class will be on every Saturday, right? No, the class will be on every Saturday and Sunday. It will be our 2-day classes. Yeah. So now this is one thing. This is my emulators. Now let me show you how we invoke APM. Let me show you how we invoke APM in the same. So we will be configuring APM desktop client. APM desktop client takes time to load. Just wait for some seconds. Everyday class you mentioned 10 to 12, 11:30 a.m. Yes. The daily classes, sorry, the Saturday and Sunday classes will be from 10 to 11 in the first month. And then the APM guys will be covering the classes at 6 itself. And the person who are joining for Selenium will be at 10 itself. It will be in a split in that way. Okay. Anybody having any more questions? So the way we are going to work on this, in the same fashion, we are going to work on a real-time device. I will be connecting my real device with it, and we will be automating on real devices also. So we are covering emulators also, we are covering real devices as well. So now if I show you, so we will be using command line so much over here. So if I say ADB devices, if I hit enter, you see it shows me that right now I have a device called emulator, and this is a device. So this is a very important command that we need to check. This is my APM server. This is my APM desktop client. So it says you need to start the APM server. By default, the host is 0, port is 4723. I'm going to start it. So you see there is a log. This is a log file. If you want to download it, you can easily download it at any point of time to see what is happening in your application. Close it. Then we say we need to start a session. The moment you click on it, it says we are starting a session. It takes a minute. Yeah. What is available here? If I show you, there is an Android emulator. There is a very important concept in mobile automation called desired capability. Desired capability. What is a desired capability? Desired capabilities are the information, are the important information which we provide to connect, which we provide to connect. In Android, for example, the desired capability, same names like what is your device name, what platform are you want to connecting, trying to connect APM with. So we are using to connect with Android. Then we have app package. If I just show you edit, so then we have app package and app activity. So these are two things which I'll be showing you, where how can I get app package and app activity. and then you need to give the path of the app where your app is available, which app you are going to work on. So this is a set of desired capability which I already have with. So if I say, so let me check. I say I have my emulator on. I'll go here. I'll minimize it, and I'll say start the session. The moment I say start session, you see logs are happening, and just have a focus on the emulator. The emulator should open Flipkart application. The emulator should open the Flipkart application automatically. See, it's not me, it's the emulator which is performing the operation. So this is what Android automation comes in, right? In the backend, this Flipkart application automatically turned up. This is my APM inspector. So what happens whenever a screen comes up, it takes the screenshot. It takes the screenshot. So now if I want to enter the mobile number, if I want to enter the mobile number, I need to perform a tap action, right? So I need to select this item. So what I can do, I can click over here. The moment you click on this, you get all the available options. You get an ID, you get the XPath, you get the class, you get the text. So you can actually, perform an operation on these Android elements using this available options. So we are going to use APM for the same, like how to connect with, how to click a tap operation, how to click on the sign up button, how to click on this existing user, how to click on this cross button, everything. Right. In case if you want, then the moment your work is done, you can actually quit the session, and yeah, that's it. So this is how your emulator screen works. So is it, we will be configuring everything one by one, the day we are going to start with APM. So is it clear to everybody till here, like what all is expected? This is what we are doing in emulator. We will be doing the same thing in real devices as well. Yeah, I will be the instructor for APM itself. Can I learn APM and Selenium at the same time? That depends upon your capacity, Jatin. Selenium session will be in the morning and APM in the evening. If you can practice and perform both, you can join both. What is the exact purpose of Python here? So this is something which is happening manually right now, Satish, right? This is something which is happening manually. Let's try do it in a real-time device. Let me show you a real-time device this time. Let me close the emulator, close it up. Let me minimize it. So this is my IDE PyCharm. I'll go and create a new file, demo2. Now, as I mentioned, so let me actually first connect my real-time device. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute, guys. Need to connect the USB. So we are going to use AirDroid for screen mirroring so that you guys can see what is happening. Let me see the questions. Will Python be taught basic level or advanced? It will be started from scratch and it will be going till the level which is needed for APM and Selenium. Okay. Just let me connect my screen. So this is AirDroid. Need to remember screen mirror. just give me a minute. So yeah, now my real-time device is also connected. So this is my real-time Android device which I use. So I hope you can see this. So now if I want to perform an automation in here, how can I perform it? So for that, you can use, we are going to actually use APM and Python. You can do that in emulators as well. You can do that in real devices as well. So we are going to need a library. The library name is Appium library. How can I get it? Go to project interpreter, click on this plus button, search for Appium Python client. Click on install. So now it will be installing my Appium Python client. It says successfully installed. Close it. I'll be writing from Appium import WebDriver. So WebDriver is completely this. You can say WebDriver is something where we have the control of the complete screen. So now, second thing was the way I was having an APM set capabilities. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use the same. I'll show how do we create them. So let me first describe a variable desired cap is equal to paste it. So now where do we get this device name? So since I connected a real-time device, I'll go to my CMD and I perform the same um, command, which is ADB devices. The moment I write ADB devices, you see it shows me a device is attached. Earlier it was showing me a emulator was attached. Now it is showing me a device is attached. So this is the ID of the device which is very much used. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste the same here. Right? This is one application which I want to perform, which I wanted to open. Then we can simply say that boss, I'm creating a variable WebDriver dot remote. I'm saying I want to open it on a remote machine. Try to understand it. I'm saying I want to open it on a remote machine. Now, what is the remote machine? This is the remote machine. Here I have the address. I'm going to copy this. This is my remote machine. We need to just make a very small change in here. Need to add WD and hub. I'll be passing my desired capabilities and my work is done. So now if I open my application, my Android mobile, so what scenario should happen? It should actually open one thing. The file name is, let me show, APK info. It should open this application right now. Okay. So now let's see whether it happens or not. So before this, we need to start the APM server. I'm going to use the command adb start server. Server is started. Right click, run. Let's see what is happening in the device. Just wait for a few seconds. It should actually open the same. I don't know. Error is raised. Maximum retry connections. Uh, um, Caused by hub session. Need to check maybe a connection issue. Let me just rerun it one more time. Right click, run. It is actually trying to connect with the server. However, it is not able to perform it. I need to check. Maybe connection pool is completely filled. I'll check it. whatever the error is. But the way we perform automation in Python, answering your question, Satish, and this is the way. Now, if I want to, perform a tap operation, I can simply say driver dot find element by ID, find element by XPath, and anything. Then it performs the same operation. Is it clear to you? Is it clear to everybody till here? And to kill it, we simply say kill server. So this is all we are going to cover in this course. I hope it was informative. Yeah, recording is already there, happening. All the sessions are recorded, Satish, and you will be getting the video of the session the next day. Uh, yeah, we can actually play and record as well. There is no problem in that as well. Just give me a minute. Uh, how you share the class code? Class code will be shared using the GitHub repository. Just give me a minute, guys. Just give me a minute. I'll be back. Yeah, so sorry, actually, there was somebody on the door. Yeah, the class code will be shared using the GitHub repository itself. We are going to cover Git, batch files, execution, Jenkins execution, like, and then Allure reporting, like what is Allure reporting, how it works, and everything. A book for Python, I can suggest it is Headless Python, and Python with APM, there is no such good book. How we find experts using different plugins like CrowPath or Selector Hub, we can use in browser, but from a while, how we do. So I actually have a problem here, Nilima. Don't take me wrong, but if you are an automation tester, or if we say ourselves an automation tester, why should we rely on any location, any locator tool actually? Any locator tool. We should never rely on any locator tool. You should have a capability of finding your own XPath or finding your own IDs. Right. Finding your own XPath should be the best, you can say the best feature of yourself which you should showcase in any scenario, in a worst case scenario, in a best case scenario. So if we call ourselves an automation tester, we should not use any locator tools, because today they are helping you, but tomorrow if you're stuck in a situation where these tools are not available, you might not perform that much good that was supposed to be. So that is why when I will be teaching XPath, I will be covering 8 different methods, 8 different methods of covering XPath or finding XPath. Okay, so try to use them and find your own locators. Okay, but when we have time limit, in that case, still in that case also, Nilima, try to polish yourself in a way that you can, I'm not talking about Nilima itself, everybody, like we should polish ourselves in a way that we can find the best in minimum time. I have not used any tools right now. Might be they are good. I know might be they are good, but still, that is my point of view. Yours can be different. It's up to you. Do we cover CI/CD pipeline? Yeah, I mentioned Jenkins execution, right, Satish? So that covers the CI/CD pipeline. That is a CI tool. So yeah, that is all for the Python APM course that we're going to start soon from the next 17th of April. So anybody having any more questions, you can ask me. As I already said, we will be covering real-time devices, emulators, iOS automation. So yeah, anyone having any questions in their mind, feel free to ask me. GitHub repository that will be created next week itself, and then I'll be sharing it with everybody. Okay. Please share the fees details. You guys will be getting an email from Rahul regarding the fees and everything. You can ask him about the same. Please let me know about the GitHub repository so I can have it. So I will be creating a new GitHub repository, Tushar, which will be shared with all of you the next week itself. So yeah, I believe that is all from my end. So in case if you guys have any questions, you guys can ask. Otherwise, you are free to drop. I'm expecting almost all of you to join the next session. So how many of you are interested in joining it? If I can just know the number, the APM Python session. Can you please share the installation instructions file that will be covered after completing Python, Ashok? Yeah. So yeah, whosoever is interested, you guys can join the course. It's a great course. Yeah, we have different timings from Selenium Vina. Selenium session will be happening 10 a.m. in the morning IST, and so APM session will be happening 6 p.m. in the evening IST. So yeah, whosoever is a lifetime member, it is a very great opportunity for you to join as many courses as you want. Yes, so Jewel, we are starting a Selenium session as well, which will be from 10 a.m. morning IST, which was a demo yesterday. From the next week itself. Thank you, Tushar. Thanks a lot. In case if you guys want to share any types of feedbacks, I'm happy to hear. Everybody has a scope of improvement. My name is Ashish Satish. Rahul will be sharing the course detail. Yeah. We have one session going on for Selenium that is already ended. Selenium Python I'm talking about, Veena. Selenium Python new session will be starting on 17. My number is 7011197716. Email ID is agarg9582@gmail.com. So if you want to contact me, you can contact me there. Yeah, he will be sending the details, Satish. So yeah, I believe we are done for the day because you guys are having another session on Selector Hub maybe by 8. So we need to end it. So in case if anybody has any more questions, you guys are free to ask or you are free to drop the same. Thank you. Thank you for being such a patient and lovely audience. So okay then guys, stay safe, stay home. COVID cases are increasing day by day. Hope to meet you soon in the next session. Bye, stay safe.